Okay, I do believe that my life is at stake, and I'd like law enforcement to take notice of this. This is my brother's trust right here. Um, I've been being harassed systematically by the trustee of my brother's trust. His name is Yehuda Ferris, claims to be a rabbi out of Chabad of the East Bay in Berkeley, California. His wife is a well-known owner of a large real estate empire that she inherited. That would be Miriam Ferris. They've lived in Berkeley 45 years. They have trouble getting anyone to come to their prayer services for 45 years. My brother worked for them for many long years. He came down with terminal liver cancer in 2014, and subsequently, a year before he died, he wrote a trust with the help of this attorney who's been trying to kill me since my brother died, and Yehuda Ferris has also been trying to kill me since my brother died. I mean, you be the judge. I mean, look at what they've been doing. I'm going to tell you, so you figure it out. I'm a beneficiary of my late brother's trust. So are my two sisters. They're poor and broke and don't have any retirement money, and they'll be retirement age in a few years, and they don't even have enough money. They haven't even worked enough quarters to having paid into Social Security to be able to draw any money. And you can't retroactively pay into Social Security anymore. You used to be able to. So my brother got back in the house a year before he died. He lived with this woman for 35 years at 1810 Grand Street, had two Filipino non-Jewish daughters, anti-Semitic, never converted. Began, the mom's not Jewish, so by Jewish law, they're not Jewish. So they never spoke to him one time in the whole 6 years before he died. They just admitted that in court. And we knew it because I was around my brother the whole 6 years since his diagnosis. He never saw them, never heard from them, never called. They never said hello. They never lifted a finger. They let him die alone. That's how evil they are. Maxine and Flora Zipper. And I'm sorry, but that's the truth. Okay? And the world should know it. So he got back in the house a year before he died. He kicked the girlfriend out. He went to court and said, "I'm dying. She won't share, so can you kick her out?" The court said yes. So wherever my brother went, I went, because I'm taking the vital signs, keep going in the hospital 24/7 so he won't go to a nursing home, doing the medicine, trying to donate half my liver, just being a normal brother. But that last year, it became a 24/7 operation because he was living back in his house. So he passes away a year later. 2 months after he died, COVID shut down the world. This lawyer, Will Rogers, threatens me and says, we don't mind you being there. Me and the Rabbi Ferris, the trustee, we want you there for strategic purposes, but if you tell anyone, I'll burn you. That's what he said. And then COVID continues to paralyze the world. There's lockdowns, shelter in place, nobody move. The whole economy came to a standstill. We all know this. So suddenly, 2.5 years later, in the middle of the COVID pandemic, in May of 2022, that's 3 years from now, 3 years ago, I get this threatening letter from them saying, if you don't get out in 2 months and go live out in the street, homeless, in the middle of the COVID pandemic, and violate the eviction moratorium of Alameda County for safety reasons, if you don't do that, we're going to disinherit you and your sisters and you will get nothing. So I'm like, you got my money, you owe me and my sisters $30,000 plus 10% interest a year, and now it's 2.5 years. That's more like $38,000. They said, nope, just get out. I'm like, where am I supposed to go in the middle of COVID? There's nowhere to rent. And you don't give me any money. I've spent 6 years taking care of my brother. So they said, we don't care. So no, and I didn't leave. So they sold the property for $80,000 to the two daughters who never saw their father in 6 years. But my brother put in his trust 14 times. The daughters only get a quarter each of his half, no matter what, because they didn't see me in 6 years. It's a revocable trust. So they still sold it to him in order for the trustee's wife to get a hold of the property so she can fix it up and remodel it and resell it and make some money. And that's what she told me in a text. She said, we didn't really sell it, but if we get you evicted, we are going to sell it and make some money, but go on welfare. You won't be in the street. They'll give you a free house. So I can't leave because of the COVID pandemic. I'm 63 and a half. They start eviction action against me. Luckily, I gave my last $8,000 in life to this incredible tenant attorney who used to be a judge sometimes. She'd sit in, and that attorney stalled the eviction for a whole year, but I had to leave 16 months ago. But if I win the probate case, I'll be part owner of the property. So I still can't get a lawyer to take the case because the inheritance dispute attorneys in probate, they're specialists. They're the only ones that know this kind of law. They don't take cases less than $1 million in real estate and only about $80,000 in cash like my brother. They said, we don't take small cases like that. That's not enough for us. I'm like, $1 million in real estate is not enough? They said, absolutely not. I'm like, gee whiz. So what the hell is going on here? So what happened next was they filed an eviction action against me. Now my reputation is ruined because I got an eviction on my record for 8 years. Thanks a lot. How are you going to get a job? How are you going to get an apartment? How are you going to buy a house with an eviction on your record? That's disgusting, but they don't care. They're just so greedy to get their hands on the apartment. They don't care whose lives they destroy. So I got eviction on my record. Then I go to court myself because the lawyers won't file the case, so I just file it myself, and hopefully I'll get a lawyer. So there's a trial date last August 19th. I couldn't get a continuance no matter how hard I tried, so I dismissed the cases without prejudice about 3 days before trial so I could live to fight another day, because if I went in there, I was going to lose anyway. And this way I could get a lawyer and we could refile, but I got to hurry up because statute of limitations is ticking. So they were so mad, they turned around and lied to the judge and said I was a vexatious litigant, that I had filed 30 lawsuits in the last few years. I said, Judge, pay attention. It's only 4. They took 4 lawsuits and reprinted them 30 times. She said, I don't care. I'm still blacklisting you from every courthouse in California. You won't even be able to file a small claims court because you're on the bad list of people that sue too much. And then the law says, well, you can sue, but you need to get an attorney to help you. But attorneys don't represent people that are on that bad list. It's an unwritten rule because they could get disbarred. So now I can't get an attorney because I'm blacklisted on this list. And I couldn't get an attorney before because there wasn't enough money in the trust. And then if all that wasn't bad enough, then in February they tried to file a restraining order on me saying I shouldn't be allowed to talk to the newspapers or to the media or any clergy in their whole denomination nationwide because I'm making them look bad. And then they couldn't serve me because they couldn't find me. So the judge dismissed it and said, you got to serve them in person or forget it. And so they dismissed. And then a few months later, now they're back at an email yesterday saying, well, if you don't take down your social media posts, then we're going to sue you for defamation and we're going to get a restraining order on you and you can end up going to jail. So this is how disgusting it is, and I feel that my life is threatened. And I did get a death threat that I take as a death threat. I can't confirm where it came from. I don't know. But the only people that are against me are them. So if anything happens to me, the suspects are William John Rogers out of Petaluma and Rabbi Yehuda Ferris of Chabad of the East Bay. They have their temple at 1710 University. But yeah, and now I got to figure out a legal strategy because they're obsessed. They're trying to kill me ever since my brother died. How? Trying to evict me. When I didn't leave voluntarily and go take up homelessness and living in the street, what did they do? They sold the property for $82,000. Then, after they sold the property for $82,000, then they run an eviction case against me, ruining my reputation. Then, because I wouldn't leave in the middle of the pandemic, they said, leave in the middle of the pandemic or you'll get nothing. And neither will your sisters. So I couldn't leave because I don't want to die of COVID. They didn't offer me any money to leave. So then they sell the property for $82,000 to the very people that the trust says they're not supposed to get. And to this day, 5 years later, they never put a lien on the property, and they never paid us our $30,000 plus 10% interest a year, which is now is closer to $48,300, to be exact. But now they're saying, well, if you keep talking about us, we're going to go to the media and say that you can't talk about us. I mean, this is, I think they're out to kill me, honestly.